Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Power Man Podcast. My name is Rory Paquette. You guys all know that already, but I just like to remind myself about who's sitting in my chair because I'm grateful to be the guy that gets to do that. Folks, I want to thank you all so very much. When we made the move to 5 days, you guys all stepped up and you were on board. You were listening to our stuff. When we moved to 7 days, you guys came through even harder. We got more DMs, we got more listeners, we got more subscribers. You guys are just killing it. And if you're not out there sharing and liking and doing everything else that you're doing, I don't get to sit here and do what I'm doing. So, folks, I'm eternally grateful. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. If you are a friend of the program, and I am guessing that you are, then you know what time it is. We got to pay a couple of bills. So, let me take a sip of my preferred beverage. Wow, really good stuff, guys. Piping hot, just made it. And you know what we're drinking? It's Freedom Hill Coffee at Freedom Hill Coffee on Instagram. Deep, dark, rich, bold, and beautiful, just like my wife. They brew a mean bean. It's a fantastic cup of joe. They do all the right things for all the right reasons, and they support veterans, which you guys all know is a huge thing for us here at Power Man. We respect veterans. We welcome you all. I know we have a lot of you folks listening, and thank you all for your service. Folks, go check them out. Look them up. Freedom Hill Coffee at Freedom Hill Coffee on Instagram. One more time so I can keep up with this young buck on the other side of the table from me. He's laughing at me already because he knows. All right, here we go. Please welcome to the show, teacher of happiness, author of Who Are You? The Art of Being Yourself in a World That Doesn't Want You to, Jamie Naegele. Jamie, how you doing, brother?
Doing excellent, man. How are you?
If I was any better, I'd be twins, but don't tell anybody that, all right? Try to keep it secret. Jamie, I love your subject matter, man, because one of the things we all have a lot of trouble with is being happy,
hmm
finding
hmm
happiness, especially with who we are. And I think that you really have kind of dug deeply into this topic, and I can't wait to hear more about it. Before we get rolling with that, let everybody know who is Jamie Naegele, man. What are you about, and what brings you here today, brother?
Yeah, for sure, man. I am a husband and a father of four children. Three of those are stepchildren, ranging ranges of 2 to 18. And so I'm also by day an engineer, so I can support all these kids of mine that I have. Um, and I'm also I'm an actor. I'm an author of the book Who Are You? And like you said, I run a happiness school platform where I teach people, how to be happy. And I've kind of created a system, and for me, an equation. As an engineer, I've got all these systems and equations I like to do. So I've narrowed happiness down to an equation that I like to teach people. And if you get three areas of your life right, and you really focus on those three areas, you can create as much happiness and joy in your life as you want. Which it can be difficult as men and as fathers and husbands who have responsibilities and duties, but it's possible. And I've gone through the past 4 or 5 years or so, being able to figure that out, and hopefully can share some things today that our listeners can really use and dive into and start to create happiness and joy right here, right now. So
Love it. I love that. Now,
yeah.
you haven't always done this thing with pursuing happiness. You took an interesting road to get here from what I was reading about.
Yeah.
Something about $50,000 in debt or something. I'll let you tell the
Oh yeah.
story, but it almost knocked
Yeah.
me over in my chair when I read your journey here, brother.
Yeah. So I am a millennial, right? So I think as a millennial, um we were sold this idea of like college, get into a job that a career that is going to give you financial stability, and create a life after that. I think, especially with our generation, we've just been open up to so many more options than that. And I did that path, right? I went to college, I got an engineering degree. I went and worked in construction engineering, and I did that for a few years. And I gained so much weight, and just I felt every day like an imposter, like I was supposed to know literally everything, and these guys are coming up to me, and I was electrical engineer, so managing these electrical subcontractors. These guys are experts. They know they're talking Chinese to me. It seems like with junction boxes and all this stuff, and I've got to somehow either pretend I know what they're talking about or get to the root of the issue so I can solve some things. And I felt deep down like I had to create, which I think a lot of men do. I had to create this exterior confidence that was fake, and it was grounded in trying to portray to people someone that I wasn't. And so, probably 4 or 5 years of doing that, I hit this spot where I was so unhappy that I couldn't do it anymore. And so I had some savings. I had a lot of credit cards I'd open that weren't used at all. And so I was like, I'm gonna quit my job and I'm just gonna figure something different out. And I was able to do that because I didn't have a family, right? At that time, I was out of college. I didn't have kids. So I was able to do that without having much responsibility other than myself. And so
Right.
I ended up losing 90 pounds in a year. Like you said, I literally took so many personal development courses. I read so many books and I figured out like, who am I? What does it mean to even be someone? What does that even mean? When you ask who are you, like it's a complicated question, right? And
Right.
it's not simple to answer. So I had to figure out what that really meant. And through that process, and I accumulated over $50,000 worth of debt in taking coaching programs, personal development courses. And to be honest, it was one of the best decisions that I had ever made because I had bet on myself. They weren't just spending money. It wasn't just buying a car and the car was just losing value. I invested in something that is still driving me in a very positive way today. And so I have no regrets with that decision. Um, and so yeah, and through that I found out who I was, what makes each of us individuals unique, how to actually rewrite that story of who you are. Because I think so many people have been told especially as men, who we are since the day we were born. We haven't really stopped to like think, is this who I am, or am I just playing this part that I've been expected and told to be for so long? I've actually forgotten what it even means to be me anymore because I have to be a father, I have to be a husband, I have to be an employee, I have to go to work, and I have to do all these things. Even today, we're inundated with information. We don't spend any time alone. Like if you really think about how much alone time we spend, it's not that much. And if you're listening to music, you're still having someone else's like voice in your ear at that time, right?
Right.
um and it's scary to start to be alone and have your own thoughts, because what I realized when I did that at first was the thoughts inside your head when you start to get alone are not necessarily your thoughts. They're your fathers, they're your mothers, they're your colleagues, they're your friends, they're your workers. You have so much information going on that you start to process everything that you've been told. And when you get through the other side of that and you're able to just listen to what you actually have to say, it's sometimes very different than what everyone else has been telling you and how you've been living. So through that process was about a year of literally me just being on my own, like no contact with, um, very minimal contact with my parents. I didn't really associate with friends at the time. I had just gotten out of a relationship with someone for 5 years. And we were actually engaged. So I was like this whole reset journey for me.
Wow.
That lasted about a year, and that's when I wrote the book. I've just taken this philosophy everywhere I go. So
I mean, when they talk about someone disappearing for a year, you like actually did. You disappeared.
yeah, yeah.
Wow. Wow.
And I had the luxury to do that again. Like I didn't have kids,
Sure.
didn't have a family. So my hope is that I can take the information that I was able to get from that process and spread it with men and fathers so that they can, use some of it daily. So,
Yeah, I appreciate you said that a couple times, that you were afforded that because you didn't have those things.
mhm.
I personally appreciate you recognizing that, especially with who we're talking to on this show, in large part. But did that perspective change for you when you became, a father with, that kind of a blended family?
100%. Everything I had
Wow.
taught myself and I had learned, everything that I built upon completely disappeared. I'm not kidding. I went from a 500 square foot bachelor pad, and then within 6 months I fell in love with my current wife, moved in with her and her three kids, and now I'm a man of a 5,000 square foot house with three children, with dogs and cats and fish and now a turtle. Um, and it took everything I knew about happiness and threw it out the window. And I had to literally start over, like my philosophy, because you forget, like when you're alone and you have your own voice, and you have no other distractions, it's really easy to keep that. But the second you walk out and you start to come back into society and around people, you can get lost again. And so, um, for the next probably 2, 3, or 4 years of being a father and a husband, I had to remember my own philosophy and the things that I wrote in my book, and I had to start applying them again. And I feel like I'm finally at the position where I feel confident enough to like say like, okay, this works, and I can teach this to people to be able to use in their lives. So
That's nice. So the principles that were in the book that you wrote before you had these obligations, they still
mhm.
held true for you once you had these other obligations, though,
Yeah, absolutely. And what was funny is like when I went back and I actually re-edited the book, because I was reading some of these things as a father and as a husband, and I'm like, reading it like that's really easy for me to say when I don't have responsibilities and a
Wow.
kid and I don't have bills to pay that people are relying on me. And I had to edit some things because I realized, I had a luxury at that point that I don't have today. And that's okay, because with this comes something, you can utilize your family and the responsibility you have to grow yourself in a way that's way stronger and way into a better man than you could ever if you didn't have those responsibilities. I truly believe you don't become a man until you're responsible for something, whether that's kids, a family, or some people go the CEO entrepreneurship route, like you're responsible for people's lives and their livelihoods at that point. When things depend on outside of you, that's when you become a man. And I think it can be such a lonely journey for us as men. We forget how powerful it is and what it can really do for us if we utilize it. So I really want to be able to, hopefully share some things that, as we go along, that are going to really help your audience and, the people listening today.
Yeah, that's a huge revelation to, sort of happen into. And you didn't get to take it step by step either. You got hit with it all at once,
Nope, like the rain going down in Indiana right now.
right?
It poured all over me. Yes, sir.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's getting worse here, actually. But yeah, great comparison. Let me backtrack just for a second because I am curious. When you were going through, when you decided I'm going to disappear and I'm going to
Mhm.
go take all this personal development and everything. Now, were you thinking you were going to come through it and, write a book and teach and that kind of thing? Or did you just go into it blind? What was your thought process that you like? What did you want to get out of it originally
Yeah,
when you first went
yeah,
into it?
yeah. It wasn't intentional. It was. I didn't do that with the intention that this is what I'm going to do. I think I had set my life up in a way that had the ability to crumble once I moved a few pieces. And so I did everything I possibly could not to be alone. I was on every dating app you could think of. I was, I was doing everything that I possibly could not to be alone. And eventually I just got to the point where I actually started to like it. And that's when I started to really evolve and change, once I stopped resisting the process and stopped trying to go out and meet people and hook up and date and all these things. And I just started focusing on me. That's when it really all shifted. So it wasn't an intention. It just it kind of happened. I felt like I was forced into it, but I ended up taking it and running with it in a beautiful way.
Nice. Nice. Was there an event or something that happened that kind of pushed you over the edge and made you say, all right, enough? Or was it really just gradual over time and you finally got to that point?
Yeah, I think it was gradual. It was over time. At the time, about it probably a year before, my fiance at the time had broken up, but we still lived together for the next 8 or 9 months.
Ouch.
And yeah, and
Ouch.
yeah, it was not easy, but it ended up working out for the best for both of us, I think. And so um, through that process, it just gradually became what was necessary for me and the perfect time. So.
Nice. All right. So somewhere in your journey, where you've just kind of opened yourself up, you've broken yourself down, you're embracing the silence, somewhere in there it comes to you, this idea about,
Mhm.
how to be happy and how to work it and everything else. And you start writing the book during that
Mhm.
time. So what made you want to put it all into a book?
It's funny you say that. It was one night, and it was this. I had joined a kickball team just to get some social interaction at the time, and we're going out with friends, and we're at this going out to this bar, and I left the group. I just went and by myself, and I remember just like being on top of this stool, sitting kind of back with looking across this bar and watching everyone's interactions. And I remember just thinking to myself, like, why do people seem to just kind of do this every week where, they're going to work and they're at these bars and these clubs and they get hungover afterwards. They're not really enjoying it. Like why? And I started to watch and I got this, one word and it was approval. And it seemed like everyone was doing something in their interactions when I was watching them for some level of approval, some level of being liked in some small manner or another. And I realized what I had really stopped doing throughout my journey was I stopped searching for the approval of other people and I started to search for the approval of myself. And that little idea sparked like it just changed everything within me when I had it and I decided I was going to write a book the next day. And the book was originally going to be about approval, but it just as I was writing and getting ideas, I realized what I was really doing was creating a philosophy and a journey of how to find yourself and recreate yourself through that process. So it kind of evolved from that one
Wow.
little idea. Yeah.
I mean, one day you're out playing kickball, the next day you're writing a book.
That's right. That's
That's
exactly how
awesome.
that went. Yeah.
That's
So,
awesome. Just another curiosity question. The book itself, did you publish that? Did you self-publish it? Did you work with somebody? How'd that come about?
yeah, I self-published it with a company. That was part of some of the debt that I got into was hiring a company to help me publish it. And yeah, so they helped me publish it, market it, all that good stuff. They helped me it become number one bestseller in a couple Amazon categories in here in Canada. So,
Nice.
yeah.
Love that, man. All right. Yeah,
Thank
I
you.
realize it's an international best-selling book, so I should have said that. I apologize.
That's
But
okay. No worries.
yeah, it's no small feat either. So congratulations on all that.
Thank you.
So the book itself, who are you? The art of being
Hmm.
yourself in a world that doesn't want you to.
Hmm.
Um, Now we have a lot of attitude on this show, and most of it gets from the top down because it usually comes flying out of me. But there's a little bit of attitude in that title, and I kind
Yeah.
of like that. Where's that come from? Where'd you get the title?
Yeah, the original subtitle was The Art of Being Yourself in a World Full of Masks. And I released it during COVID, so I felt like it was kind of like, relying on the mask thing and
Yeah,
but as the book evolved, there were a lot of themes about masks in there that I'd taken out. So I figured this new subtitle kind of portrayed what this was about. And the idea, I mean, the idea behind it is the world wants you to be a certain way. And as soon as you step outside of people's vision and their ideas of who you are and what they want you to be, The second they start to ridicule that, or they start to make fun of that, or they start to degrade you or devalue in some way because they want you back inside that box. And so the ability to look at yourself, change yourself into something more powerful and even more growthful and more successful is going to take the acceptance that there are people in your lives right now who are not going to be able to handle that. They're not going to be able to look at you skyrocketing, getting better, and having a better life for yourself and be able to stay in your life in a positive way because what you now represent is um, them staying stuck and staying still because I truly believe every single person on this planet has the ability to change into something positive, into something growthful, into something good. But when we accept the idea or we fall victim to um this narrative that we're not able to, that everything is beating me up, and that's a really easy thing to do because the truth is things are beating you up and there are things that feel like you're holding you down, and that's okay. But to stay stuck and to allow those to make you want to quit or not grow, a lot of people do that and they stay stuck. And as soon as you start to change and go in one direction, they want to take you back down so they can feel comfortable and safe with how they're living as well. So that's where that subtitle comes from. The
Wow.
second you decide to be who you are, people who are used to that are not may not be okay with that. You need to accept that you may need to let some people go.
I could not agree more with every single word that just came out of your mouth in response to my question. So my follow-up, of course, is this sounds very personal. Is this something that you went through when you started to level up?
Um, you know, to a degree, a little bit. Probably not as much as my attitude towards it would predict. To be honest, I have a very supportive family, and they do support pretty much everything that I do. I think I see it once I start to teach some people things
Mhm.
this, and I see what happens when you surround yourself with the wrong people and you want a better life, and they it's crazy how one bad person in your life can ruin your life. And you may not even know that they're I think I heard a stat recently that there's only that 10% of the people cause all the problems in the world, and that one negative person can really ruin your life. And so you've got to really find out who that is and cut them out or use them as a vessel for you to get stronger. Because because that could be someone you love, like your mom or your dad, or whomever it might be. It may be something you really appreciate and count on, and you can't just cut them out. And so you have to grow within their criticism and within their ideas of you, and you can do that. It's a lot harder than to just walk away and do things without their judgments and their criticisms, but you do have that ability. So I think that passion and that fire comes from just seeing how many people can be destructive um, when someone tries to grow and become a better version of themselves.
Wow. All right. So, all right, the book itself then, is it educational? Is it instructional? Is it actionable? I mean, tell us a little bit about, don't give away the secret sauce because, hey, people want to
Yeah,
know what's in it. They can buy the book. I mean,
yeah.
hey-oh. But still, anything you can tell us that doesn't give it away, just what do people expect when they do buy the book that they're going to be able to get out of it?
Yeah, and just by the way, I love to share my wisdom, my knowledge. I'm not someone who is going to save just the best stuff or the paid stuff. There's so much detail in what I teach and in the book that getting the book is going to be valuable, whether I give away the secret sauce or not. I do believe that.
Nice.
So I have developed happiness, and if we just go from the idea of happiness, happiness equals how you view yourself, the quality of your relationships, and your wealth. That those three areas of your lives, if you can find a way to improve in any one of those 3s, you're going to be a lot happier. And I caveat that with wealth. wealth is something that I feel like you have to do last. You have to improve how you view yourself, and you have to improve the quality of your relationships, before you can really start to create wealth in a way that's going to make you happier. I believe that money makes you more of who you are.
Hmm.
Money makes you more of who you are. So if you're greedy and you're angry and you're depressed and you're sad and you get more money, it's just going to make you more greedy. It's just going to make you angrier. It's just going to give you more problems. But if you're happy and you're joyful and you're in love with life, like money can amplify that, right? So, and I'm sure a lot of listeners, because most people, and even me in the past, have just been like praying to win the lottery and thinking that's going to solve all of my problems. And when finances is your biggest problem, and you feel like just an increase in wealth is going to solve a lot of your relationship issues, a lot of just like if you hate your job and you hate what you do for work, like that's going to solve a lot of your issues, and it will solve a lot of those issues. But at the same time, like if if you end up getting a bunch of money, but you don't know how to manage that money well, you're going to run out. You have to learn how to manage money in a way that is sustainable and is going to create more money, because wealth is something that is used to be circulated. That's why they call it currency, right? So you spend or you invest and then you receive. Um, and I dive deep into happiness school and how to increase your wealth and how to um like figure out how to make money doing what you love, because a big part of your happiness and your day to day is doing what you love. And so with the wealth aspect, people think that's where they want to go to first, but I would strongly encourage everyone listening here that you can become so much more happier with your life right now by focusing on you and what you need, emotionally, spiritually, mentally, physically, whatever that looks like for you. How you see, like when you look in yourself in the mirror, when you're by yourself, what are your thoughts about you? If they're not positive, if they're not confident, if they're not happy, if it's not loving, if you don't have some sort of self-love within you, it's going to be very hard to be happy. You're going to have to rely on everything external in your life to make you happy, which is conditional. You have to have your kids and your spouse be in a good mood, or your friends be in a good mood. You have to have a good day at work. You have to have people not bothering you, or you may have to be able to just sit on the couch and drink beer and watch the game in order to be happy. But like the beer is conditional, the game is conditional. All these things are what I call conditional happiness, meaning they're happiness that's attached to you having to have something in the outside world. But happiness is not, we're searching for happiness on the outside, but happiness is an emotion that happens on the inside, right? And so that first bucket, your self-image, how you view yourself, how confident you actually are, that is what's going to create the most amount of happiness and joy in your life. And when you can get to a position where even your wife or your spouse or your husband or whomever that loves you the most and that you feel most of the time the most safe with can say the worst thing possible to you that just tears you down inside. When they can say something like that and you can not feel impacted in a negative way because you have so much confidence and self-love within yourself, and when you can actually hear what they're trying to say to you in a way that they're only expressing what they need from you and they don't know how to express it in a way that is positive for you and them, when you can stand in that and not get defensive or upset or have any negative emotion, now you've built a foundation within yourself that's going to impact your relationships and your relationships with your spouse and your kids in such a way that you now have this ability to create positive impact on your family. And so the ability to create that confidence and that self-love within yourself is step one. That's how you build That's how you start to build a happy and successful journey in life for yourself. Then you start to
Wow.
focus on your relationships and the people you spend time with. And once you have a foundation for confidence and self-love, now you can pour that stuff into your family, into your kids, and into your wife and to the people at work, maybe. And now you're a beacon of positivity and growth. And that right there will lead you into a way of thinking that now is going to access what you're going to do and love to do to be able to create income and wealth in your life. Because a lot of people, they don't know what they want to do. They don't know what they love doing. Like, and if they do, if it's like maybe it's art, maybe it's something that they love doing, but they don't know how to make money from it. You have to be able to create confidence because the truth is you can literally make money doing anything that you want to do. You just have to know how. You have to know how, and you have to have the confidence that you can figure out how. So if you don't have that confidence and that self-love within yourself and you don't believe in yourself, you're never going to find out how to make money doing what you love because you're not going to even try because you don't think it's possible for you. But I
Mhm.
promise if you start to build that confidence and that belief in yourself, now you have the tools you need to go find out what it is that you love and to figure out the money skills that you need in order to build a business. You know, I like there are kids. My wife is she's an acting coach. And so she's coached these influencer YouTubers and they're making $20,000 a video. And they're all they're
Wow.
doing is doing prank. They're just doing pranks with their mom. Like they just figured out a system that works and they were consistent and they did it and now they're successful. If YouTube kids can do it, like you and I can figure out how to do it. It may take time, it may take resources, it may take an hour a day of figuring out what that is, and that may take an hour a day for 6 years until something works out. But eventually you can do it and you can create that for yourself. When you have a family, when you are a father and a husband, whatever dream you want to create for yourself is going to take longer because you have responsibilities and having the patience to accept that and know that um, is okay. Like it is okay for your dreams and what you want in your life to take longer because you are a man. Because that's what a man does is he provides and he protects for his family.
Yeah.
Um, and that takes longer. That takes longer to get the things that you want. But at the end of the day, if you can do that in a way where you're happy because you have that confidence, you have that self-love, and you know through your belief in yourself and your ability to figure things out that you can create the income and the wealth that you want, even if that's 6 years from now, that's so much better than being hopeless and feeling like you're never going to get out of this situation that you may be in with your family and your kids. And all you can think about is like, how am I going to make more money or how am I going to pay the car bill or the car note today? Like the positivity of just knowing things in your life in every moment that you have ever struggled, you have some way somehow figured out a way to get out of it. And when you start to really think about all those things and you start to create that confidence and those beliefs from those thoughts, it's like, okay, I'm struggling right now, but I've done this before. I can figure this out, right? And when you're able to do that, everything in your life just, starts to get easier. And I don't think life gets easier per se. The things on the outside aren't going to get easier. You get better and you get stronger to where you can handle them a lot more effectively. And that's really what I think being a man is all about.
Love that too. I mean, this sounds like one hell of a book.
Thank you. Yeah.
If
Yeah.
you got all that in it.
Yeah.
Um, wow. All right. And this all just came to you while you were, I mean, this is a lot. You've got a lot of revelations that have
Hmm.
happened. Takes a lot of guys decades to come up with this stuff. You took a
Yeah.
year off and you've put this stuff down. Everything you're saying is ringing true in my ears. I'm like, man, that makes total sense. Even just the few things you're sharing here today. And this just came to you, huh?
And that's the thing. Like it came to me, but I caveat that with I was so deep in a year of not having any negative noise inside my, like I didn't have people, I wasn't listening to music, I didn't watch any TV. All I was listening to was podcasts. All I had inside my head was YouTube videos, motivational speakers just saying things like, you got to wake up at 4 a.m. and like, all these things. Like I just had that running inside my ear, and I was reading books, and I had the space and the ability, again, because I had nothing else to do that. And so all these revelations were really an accumulation of just all these ideas that had been flowing inside my brain for so long and in my ear, that eventually by osmosis, I started to gain these insights. And so, that $50,000 that I spent allowed access to courses and to people who don't share the information that they're sharing for free. I'm getting, like, people who are wealthy and people who are successful for a reason, and they are wealthy for a reason, and it's because they have ideas, and they have access to other people who have ideas, and they have access to even more and more people who have even better and better ideas. And so investing in personal development, investing in a course or something that is going to make you grow, like one good idea can change your life forever. One good idea.
Hmm.
I read books all the time, and like most of the book is just a complete waste of my time. But one sentence in there just like sometimes just completes this puzzle for me somehow, and just like takes everything that I've been thinking about and just like puts it in a beautiful statement to where, wow, that's exactly what I've been thinking, but couldn't get, the words to describe that. So, it came to me because, and all these revelations, all these insights, because I just studied so many people with so many different ideas, and I allowed myself to take the risk and take the chance to invest in that. And again, I have to harp on this because I'm a different person than I was today. I couldn't go $50,000 in debt today to do all the things that I did because I have a family. And so, if you can find some pocket change, if you can, you know, find some books, find something, like, because books are the cheapest form. They really are. Like I spent a lot of money on courses and people teaching, and some of them were complete wastes. I bought a $5,000 course that was a complete joke
Oh,
and lost that money. And that sucked. That
I'm
was
sorry to hear
terrible.
that.
But
Yeah.
yeah, but I bought a $7,000 course previously that changed my life completely. It was the best thing I had ever bought in my life.
Wow.
And so sometimes you have to take that risk, but I had the ability to. But with books, normally people give you everything they got in books, and it costs $10 or $12. And so a lot of the things that I had bought, and although it was good to hear and I didn't have to read and all that stuff, and I was around people who were talking about different things with those courses, but the book had all the same information, and had everything. It was just a different form of media that I was getting in. So like the ability, like if you like, even if you only read a page a day, it's better than nothing. And I know a lot of people have problem with reading, and I do think school had a huge impact in making reading not fun for most people. But when
Sure.
you can pick up yeah, but if you can pick up a book and read one and just dedicate one page a day, you're gonna get better. You're gonna become a better reader. You're gonna become stronger, and every day, and then a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks, you're maybe we're going to want to read 2 pages, and so on and so on. If you can develop a reading habit, I'm telling you, like, one idea in one book can literally change your life forever. And so I've just had that mantra, and I continue to try and get around people who have better ideas and better thoughts than I do, because they're in the places I want to be. So
That's such great advice too. I hear all the time, "Oh, I hate reading. I just hate reading. I don't read." And it's such a different beast when you hate reading because you were told what to read, you were told when to read
mhm.
it. It had to be done by a certain date. It was a big sacrifice, and it was just a pain. It wasn't
Yep.
stuff that you liked. You didn't
Hmm.
necessarily care about it, but you were forced to do it. So of course you hate it,
Yes,
right?
exactly.
Like we would
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah.
So, you know, but when you get the power of being able to just select what you want, read what you want when you want, and you look at it and say, I'm filling myself up with this. I'm giving myself a gift with this. That's such a different mindset towards reading, and
Mhm.
it's such a great way to have put it, the way you just described the entire thing. More people need to hear that.
Yeah. And I think school, also like it like makes learning make you feel stupid because you're judged on what you can learn and what you can't. And the truth is like we all have different skills. There's a chapter in my book, it's called Find Your Genius. And I quote Albert Einstein, whose name was synonymous with genius. And he said that everybody is a genius. But if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its whole life thinking that it's stupid. And so everyone here, everyone I ever meet, everyone I talk to, I really do believe that they have an inner genius. They are a genius at something, whether it's fixing cars, whether it's a creative way to mow the grass. And I know that sounds silly, but it's not because you can make a ton of money with being creative at whatever your genius is. And so we've been taught that in order to be a genius, you have to be good at school and maths and science. And we're so young at those ages that like we're literally tricked into thinking that because we're not good at a school subject, we're stupid. And whatever you believe about yourself, you become that. So if you start to have this idea that you're not very smart or you're stupid, you kind of start to create that by not learning, by not getting better, by not, trying to make yourself smarter. Because at the end of the day, intelligence is not fixed. You do have the ability to read a page a day and get smarter. And I know that for a lot of people, that has a negative kind of learning has a negative feeling for them. But if you can get past that, like at your everything you want in your life is on the other side of the things that you may not like doing, but can benefit you and your family.
Yeah, very well said. I want to make sure you're wearing the hat,
Yes.
for Happiness School, and it's SKOOL for folks who are not, watching the video version. Um, so I want to make sure that we cover this too, because in addition to this, what sounds like an absolutely awesome book, you have a school community. It's on the school platform, and you have a community that you have there. If somebody signs up to get the book,
Mhm.
you give it away free. They pay for shipping. They have an opportunity to sign up for school. Tell everybody about that, how it works, how they get into it, and what they can expect when they go there.
Yeah, absolutely. So, my happiness school community, it's like a Facebook group basically, but it's designed specifically for this one group that you're going to be in. So, when you log on to Facebook, you have so much information. With this, when you log on to this, it's just our community or other communities that you're in. So, with this one specifically, this is where when you sign up, you'll get 30 days free. The price is normally $97 a month. After the $37 or after the 30 days, you're actually gonna get discounted that to $47 a month. But if you sign up and if you just try, what I'm gifting you is um 12 hours of all my video courses and lessons. So every video and course that I've ever made about this book, about different ideas, I mean 12 hours of the stuff that I've basically learned from spending $50,000 of my money to be able to share with people. You're gonna walk away with that for free, just for trying it out and seeing. And so with that, along with that library, it's basically a community of people who are trying to or dealing with life and need someone to talk to and need ideas and things that they may be going through their lives that they can improve their lives with. So it's just a group of people. And when you first sign up, first sign up, the reason why I'm doing the 30 days and you get to keep the entire library is because it's starting out, it's new. So there's only about 8 members that I'm trying to get a little more activity in. So that's why the offer. But you're also going to get weekly lives. So I'm on there every week, and I'm sharing, diving deeper into one of the happiness school subjects, and we're going over all that information. And people have an opportunity to ask questions and deal with something that they're doing on a daily basis. And hopefully I can give you some insight on whatever that is. And so that's the community, that's the group. It's aimed to keep people on the path to happiness, because I find that when you start your happiness journey, things can distract you from keeping going. But when you have a solid community and you have a solid group of people keeping you accountable and encouraging you and inspiring you, it makes it so much easier to stay on track.
That's awesome. So they, when they join this community, they get the benefit of your $50,000 debt without having to spend the money.
That's right. Exactly. That's
I
right.
like that a lot. I like it a lot. And this is real time, like you said. So this isn't, the book helps and has
Hmm.
an awful lot of merit. But then once you've done that, then you can come in here and talk about, the book and what's going on with you in real time with
Correct.
yourself and the other people in the group. So it sounds like it's quite the setup.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's awesome. All right.
Thank you.
Congrats on that. Looking forward to seeing the inside of that. So, all right, good deal. Listen, you've given me so much here, brother. There's one thing here that I did want to ask you about. I was reading it in your bio, and you kind of teased it, and maybe you covered it already, and we just didn't like paint the fine point on the tip of it. But you do mention, what is the one thing preventing people from being happy? Is that a serious hallmark thing, or did we cover that already?
Um, we did. So, but I don't think I didn't frame it in that way.
That's okay.
So the
That's what I mean. Yeah,
yeah, so the one thing that is keeping people unhappy is approval.
it's the approval piece. Gotcha.
It's trying to get approval from everyone around you, including your spouse and your kids and your colleagues and everyone else. See, when you have the ability, like we said earlier, to have the confidence and the self-love and the approval of yourself, and your wife comes or your children or someone comes at you and they're throwing insults at you because they want something from you again, but they feel hurt and they don't know how to get that from you. When you have that confidence, you don't need their approval. So their insults don't hurt anymore. So now you have the ability to stand there and ignore all the terrible things that they just said, right? Whatever that may be, and get to the underlying need, because they need something from you and they don't know how to, they're human just like you are, just like you don't know how to express your feelings, because we're complicated creatures, right? And so they don't know how to express what they need from you in a way that's positive and loving, right? And sometimes even if they did or they tried, we're we're so inundated with the responsibilities that we have, we may not give that the respect or the attention that it deserves because they ask kindly, and a lot of us don't respond unless someone's angry with us. So, if you can get to a point where that doesn't affect you negatively, now you have the ability to listen to them in a positive way and make growthful changes that are actually going to help you and your family operate better and way happier.
Nice.
So,
Well, I appreciate
yeah.
you backtracking for me on that. I had that
Yeah.
circled, on my notes, and I'm like, I got to make sure we covered this and that I, paint that the right way. So I do appreciate that. Hey, Jamie, you brought a lot to the table today. I really appreciate it. And honestly, I've had a great time talking to you. I'm sure people
Yeah.
are listening and they're going, okay, I got to make this change. I got to make this change. I probably should take
Yeah.
a look at that book since I only have to pay for shipping. And hey, while I'm at it, we got this free school thing. So you brought a lot to my listeners today. I want to
Good.
make sure though, as we kind of close things up here, that I didn't miss anything. Was there something I should have asked you? Is there anything that we talked about that maybe you want to drive home a little harder, or if you want to maybe just leave one more really good piece of advice or a leave behind for everybody? I'm going to give you the floor for a minute or two, and
Okay.
it's yours. The floor is yours, brother. So go for it.
Yeah. I have to say this. I think it's probably the single most important thing a man can do in his relationship starting today. If you can get through, this is a very uncomfortable subject for a lot of men. If you can get through the uncomfortableness of the subject, your life will, with your partner, will skyrocket because you will have compassion and you will have understanding. That a lot of men don't have, and a lot of women don't even know this subject and what I'm about to explain to you in detail. But if you can follow it, I'm telling you, it will make your life so much happier and easier as a man, and really as women too, as they understand it too. And it's very uncomfortable. So just be prepared for that for a little bit. But you absolutely, without question, have to track your wife's menstrual cycle. Well, I know that's weird and I know that's uncomfortable. Um, but I can guarantee you that every argument that you have ever had have happened on day 15 or day 16 or between days 18 and 28. Every single terrible argument, every horrible thing that she has ever said to you have happened during those days. And so I'm going to describe that for a little bit so you can kind of understand why I mean that. Um, I know it's weird, I know it's uncomfortable, and a lot of men don't want to talk about it or listen to it, but just hear me out. Um, Day one of a woman's menstrual cycle is when they actually start their period. That's day one. Day two, or so for day one or day two, you just let them rest because they just need that rest. They're starting. Around day 3 to day 12, they're having a buildup of what's called estrogen, and that estrogen allows them to be more feminine and more submissive. So if you have any difficult conversation that you want to talk about with your wife, once you track that cycle, you have it during days 3 and day 12. Around day 12 to day 15, she's going to start ovulation. That's when she, becomes hornier and all that good stuff. That's when you want to try and, sleep with your wife and have date nights and all those good stuff. So from days 12 to day 15, these are when you want to plan vacations. These are when you want to have difficult conversations you want with your wife because she has the ability and the hormonal structure to accept you, love you, and she actually in those circumstances wants to be a good partner for you. That's estrogen. That's the hormone that's causing that. Around day 15, after ovulation, she's going to have a drop in estrogen and a start of buildup of proestrogen. That drop of estrogen is going to make her irritable. It's going to make her tired. It's going to make her all these different things. And you are going to get the brunt of that without question. You are going to do something that is going to piss her off because it's inevitable. And so, and I say all this because so many men I feel like have, such good relationship with their wives during these 12 through 15 and then 18 through 28. She's a completely different woman. Things that she enjoys during this time, she doesn't enjoy during this time. And so if you can track her cycle, you know exactly what she likes during this part of the cycle, and you know exactly what she hates during this part of the cycle, and you can tailor your entire lifestyle to that. So at day 18, she has a drop of proestrogen, or an increase of proestrogen and a drop of estrogen, which means she's cannot handle stress. From day 18 to when she starts again, her ability to manage stress has completely gone out the door. And if you do anything that is in her insecurities, her vulnerabilities, all of that starts to come out. So anything that you do that pisses her off, like if you go out to your with your friends and you get drunk and you come home at 2 a.m. and you enjoy doing that, do that between days 3 and 12 and 15. And on days 18 to 28, just stay home and be with the kids and treat her like a queen. Because if you do that, you're going to eliminate all the things that she gets angry about at you during those times, because she will. You probably are starting to picture like, wow, all these arguments have happened between these days. And so I noticed, I figured this out about 10 months ago because I noticed there were two arguments that we would have every month. And I figured I did the research on this, and it's all hormonal based. So if you can love your wife enough to track her cycle day one, and you'll start to, if you really like calendar this and mark this on your calendars and like track this like it's your Bible, because how you treat your wife needs to be different on all different stages. And if you can do that, you're gonna know a love and a feminine touch and a just a sense of duty as a man that you've never experienced before. And I think all men just crave intimacy and connection with their wives, but because they don't know where she's at in her cycle, like sometimes she wants to be left alone. She don't want to be near you, right? And sometimes she wants to be all over you. And a lot of men don't know which one she's at, so they just decide to stay away all the time and then wonder why, why she's upset because you don't love her enough and all these things. But if you can track that, now you know exactly when you need to do the certain things. So that's my last piece of advice is get, like, I know it's weird, I know it's uncomfortable, but I'm telling you it will alleviate so much stress if you can figure that out and figure out how to manage that in a positive, compassionate, empathetic way because she has no control over it, right? It like you just put yourself in reverse as a man and like imagine if we just got like a massive amounts of testosterone randomly and just started getting angry and throwing things around and people had to deal with that, you know. So just with compassion and empathy track that and just see how your relationship takes off after that.
Normally when I go into a wrap up, I have a pretty good idea where we're going. And when you first started it, I got to admit, I was a little surprised. I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah.
And the more I listened to what you were saying, I went, you know what? This guy's entire thing is talking about how to be happy in your life. And I'm not sure there's better advice than what you just gave everybody for how to be happy in your
Yeah,
life. So it,
you're
it makes
correct.
sense to me now. It all kind of came full circle in my
I
mind.
yeah, I had it, I knew it was going to be a shock at first. That's why I had to build it up and be like,
You
this
did
is
too.
important. So yeah.
I love it. Now, is that in the book? I'm just curious.
It's not. No,
It's
it's not.
not?
This
All
is
right.
something I just figured out and playing
Okay.
with. And I will tell you, like, even it's coming, like, certain points are coming in the cycle and it still will piss you off. As a man, it's something like to grow through for sure. But the more you can get
Gotcha.
through it and the more compassion you can have, the better your life will be, I promise.
I
So,
love it. Well, I appreciate the special bonus content just for our podcast, man. That's awesome.
yes,
So,
sir.
all
Yes,
right.
sir.
Uh, Author of the book, who are you? The art of being yourself in a world that doesn't want you to. Jamie Naegele. Jamie, thank you, man, for everything, for all the stuff you brought today. Your openness about your story and all your advice and everything else. Honestly, it's been great having you on and getting to know you, man.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It's been an absolute blast. I hope your listeners get some value and some nuggets and can take it home and just be happier in their lives and just, hope. Just have just a little bit of hope that you can improve your life. It may not be comfortable and it may not be easy, but you can do it. You just got to find the ideas and the ways of thinking that are better than what you have now. So,
I love it. Thanks again, man. All right. Cool.
thank you.
All right, folks, it's been another awesome episode of the Power of Man podcast. I really appreciate all of you being here today, listening to all this awesome stuff. Go to the website. Well, all the links will be in the show notes. We'll have everything in there for you. Click on it, go check it out. Pick up the book, sign up for the school course. I mean, it's free for the first month. You got nothing to lose. Go take a look at this stuff and see if you can find one nugget. Jamie said this earlier. Find one thing, out of the course that works for you, and it's worth the time. It's worth the effort. So go for it. Go check it out. The reason we bring powerful men like this on here with powerful messages like what we just had today is because we absolutely support you in your mission to become better providers, better protectors, better leaders tomorrow than you are today, to become better fathers, better husbands, uh, better men tomorrow than you are today. And the reason we want that for you is because you matter. You have value. And at some point, you just have to believe it. Until next time.